guys, it's time blind reaction of this My Little Pony fanfic reading called Reborn Chapter 2. My Little Pony Dark Sad fanfic reading. 21 minutes and 32 seconds. This is on a new channel, just to let you know. This is on a new channel. My other channel has got a strike at this present time, just one strike, and this is on my new channel. If you join me on my old channel, come to this channel, don't listen to Sweetie Belle, come to this channel and I carry on where I left off. Yes, thank you Sweetie Belle for that. Now we're going to get this reaction started. In 3, 2, 1, go. Got some rain, we've got some thunder. The following story contains more language and blah blah blah. I'm not going to read that, it's too fast. I can't, no. The following story contains follows the story events of Rainbow Factory and Awoken. I have awoken! Sorry, bad joke. Sparrow percent. What's all that writing at the top then? Like a small print that you never get to read properly.
A strong wind blew through my mane as I felt raindrops collide against my skin. The sky visible from the roof of the weather factory was only an overcast of black and grey clouds, along with lightning strikes. A thought of pure horror plagued my mind as I realized what would follow the storm. A rainbow composed of innocent pigs that had died through the Pegasus device would form in place of the storm. The thought made my stomach turn.
Oh, she's active again.
The roof was long, wide, and open, with one lone entrance on the far right side of the roof. Surprisingly, the roof wasn't barricaded by any barbed wire or an electric fence. It was completely open.
That is unusual.
Any factory worker could jump from this horrible place if they wanted. They could escape a horrible life of murder and torture, but most of the Pegasi were either too afraid or driven to madness by Reborn's tactics. They'd be stuck here for the rest of their lives.
Yeah, you got to be careful with lightning storm as well.
Driven to where murder was only second nature to them. The rain continued to pound against my skin, so I decided to find some cover. I scouted the area for any sort of cover, but of course, there wasn't a single spot where I could escape the rain.
Under the table?
There was only one way I could get out of the rain, and as much as I didn't want to, I knew I had to do it.
Get an umbrella?
I had to return to the inside of the factory, the place that I had died in, along with Orion and Aurora. The screams of them in the final moments still plagued my mind,
in the Rainbow Factory,
especially Orion's pleas, as his ribs were snapped and he was thrown into the Pegasus device like a piece of trash. Those thoughts had caused tears to form in my eyes, as I became surprised. I had not felt sadness for years, nor had I not cried ever since Orion's death. The warm tears rolled down my cheeks as I wiped them away. Was I truly alive? I decided to check by placing my right hoof against the left side of my chest, only to feel a beating within my chest.
Simulated raindrops.
Again,
I don't know, maybe it's just me. Simulated raindrops dripping down.
Again, and this time, I would not fail to avenge my fallen friends.
Maybe that's me. Have like a green swing or something, like raindrops falling.
However, before I could do anything in my quest for vengeance,
I'm not sure if you can do that with his editing program now.
My best option was to disguise myself in a full body suit. Otherwise, Rainbow Dash would have her entire security squad on me. I couldn't be seen. She couldn't know I was here. The factory was packed with surveillance cameras, along with a strange darkness that you couldn't see.
What sort of suit though?
It was much like the same darkness in the void, but much more powerful.
Wouldn't a guard just notice the suit?
And remain hidden like a ghost. Once I would be able to blend in, I could get to work on sabotaging the empire Rainbow Dash had created. I carefully examined the area for any security cameras, and fortunately didn't see any, as I carefully stepped toward the only entrance. What
about laser beams?
Side of the roof. My mane and coat were soaked by the time I reached the far right side of the roof, where green light glowed through my blurred vision due to the rain. The green light glowed from just above the entrance, illuminating a neon sign that read, "Exit." I took a close look at the door, only to quickly realize that it was one of those doors that required a certain code to open. I wanted to cuss in frustration, until I suddenly heard a beeping noise erupt from the other side of the door. I wasted no time and quickly rushed to hide from whoever was on the other side of the entrance. The door opened, revealing a female Pegasus
Ow!
dressed in a pitch-black suit,
Fuck!
with only her
That
tail
was
and
loud.
wings visible. It was just like the one Ramodash was wearing the day I was admitted into the factory. Could this have been one of the orchestrators that Crystal had mentioned? The Pegasus walked right out to the edge of the roof.
What do you need? Why can't you have like a
She
swipe
was
card or
gripping
something?
something in her hoof.
Just slide
She
it
stuck
in
in
and
her
it
mouth.
opens the door.
Ugh, I hate taking these things. But it's the only way to escape the harsh shit I'm forced to do.
She spoke to herself. I wondered what to do, seeing she wasn't even aware of my presence. I peeked my head around the corner, noticing the door still open.
Can't you smell?
Pegasus was clearly too busy
him?
mumbling to herself, so I took the opportunity, immediately trotting from my hiding spot through the open door and into the factory. Inside the factory, a heaviness came over me as I looked around, fortunately not seeing any other factory workers. I wondered what sort of medication the factory worker had taken. Apparently it was strong enough to make some pony forget things, due to her stating so. At the same time, I could care less what sort of medication the factory worker had taken.
Wow.
I had to focus
Ooh,
on my
dear.
task, which was getting to the bottom floor without being seen. I'd have to stick to the shadows,
The music
seeing there were cameras everywhere.
reminds
and the only
me
way I could
of
stay hidden
The
was to
videos
stick
I
to
see
the
on
darkness.
YouTube,
My current
where
position was a short, narrow
it's in
hall
an
that led to a
abandoned
longer
building,
hall just across from the
like
hall I was
a
in,
ghost adventure,
along with the long skywalk to the left. The entire
Or
factory was
unknown
visible through
danger.
the glass along the sides of the skywalk, including the Pegasus.
Oh, fuck
The
off,
machine I
Rebo!
had
Shut
died
up!
in was silent, but it had recently been used, due to the visible blood on the grinding blades of the death
It
machine.
reminds me of those
Another
Asylum
sign that it had recently been
videos
used
you
was
see
the
on
fact that the
YouTube.
Spectre storage tubes were full
And it's
to
like
the top.
you're creeping along and you're
I was
going,
lucky.
what's
No
what's
factory
around that
workers were
corner?
visible
What is
on the factory floor.
You basically
That's when it hit
fear
me.
for your life.
I had no
Are
idea
you
what
being
time it
hunted?
was.
Or are
For
you
all
the
I knew,
hunter?
The factory workers could have departed to wherever they rested for the day. I still wasn't going to take any chances.
It could be
because
it
I
could
couldn't
be
imagine
behind
the cameras being shut off
some
at any
pony
time
could be
due to all the
hunting
rebellious pigs side
the
that had turned
pony.
against Rainbow Dash. I still had to stick to my plan, not to mention that I had to keep moving, because I knew one factory worker was still awake. The most obvious way to go was across
What's
the
that
skywalk and hopefully find an elevator. The darkest spots in the skywalk was the sides of the long walkway, so I just have to try as fast as my hooves could
Something
manage.
left there,
I
like
took a deep breath, sticking to the left side of the skywalk, and with all my energy, trotted across the skywalk. The hall seemed to drag
It's
on
like
for
a
miles,
ghost
and it
adventure.
really was only my mind playing tricks on me. I was afraid. I hated this place, but it was the only place where I could find the mirror I hated the most. I couldn't afford to make any mistakes, because I had just this chance to take out the factory in Rainbow Dash. After what seemed like forever, I finally reached the end of the skywalk, where I met another code-embedded door and another long hallway, where at the end of it, I could see an elevator. This almost seemed too easy. I had not seen any other factory
Lift.
workers except the one female Pegasus I had encountered, and I had no idea where the hell I was going. For all I knew, I could be walking right into a trap, seeing the bold Pegasus that had given me this opportunity had met his end through a set-up trap.
There's always a trap,
Ramodash
isn't
knew
it?
of
There's
his
always a
plans
trap.
long before he planned to do so. I couldn't
Thing
underestimate
is, you had to
Ramodash.
expect traps.
Her
though.
act as the tomboyish Pegasus that represented loyalty made her seem like she didn't even have the qualifications of her true self. No pony would have ever guessed her to be clever and cunning. Just goes to show you that you never truly know some pony until you've seen their true colors. Rainbow Dash was a murderous Pegasus and the overmare of a factory of nightmares. The fact that I had admired Rainbow Dash all my life made me want to vomit. I shook my head as I wondered what to do next. My best bet was the elevator, so I wasted no time, stuck to the darkest areas, and trotted down the long hall. Once I reached the end of the hall, I examined the elevator, quickly noticing that it had a hoof scanner along with an eye scanner. "Shit!" I exclaimed. "Now what?" Suddenly, I heard hoofsteps from down the hall.
I think you need to get.
I had to hide, fast.
Wouldn't
As
it
the
a
steps
death
got
proof?
closer,
Oh,
I
so
decided to
someone
hide in a
proof?
dark corner
Someone
and hoped that I wouldn't be spotted by the factory worker. I placed my hoof over my mouth, silencing my breathing, as the female worker came into view, approaching the elevator. An idea came to me through my fear, noticing that once again the worker did not notice my presence. With all my bravery, I jumped from my hiding spot, grabbed the Pegasus, and put my hoof over her mouth.
You don't have
thrusting
flying
her firmly
dogs?
in my grip.
Flying dog.
Listen up and listen good.
Shit.
I commanded her. "If you don't shut up, I'm going to snap your neck."
Fuck.
She continued to struggle in my grip, So to give the worker a sign I wasn't kidding, I violently smacked her face into the door of the elevator, causing her to recuperate as I pulled her back into my grip. "Refuse again and I'll do worse," I threatened. "Now, here's how it's going to go. You are going to get me into that elevator, take me to the bottom floor, and lastly, take me to where they store the full body suits." The worker didn't struggle anymore, and nodded her head instead. I quickly forced her in
Get the
front of
claw
the
form or
hoof
something.
scanners as she recuperated, placing her hoof on the hoof scanner and her eyes against the eye scanner. A series of beeping noises erupted from the two scanners. The elevator door opened. The inside of the elevator was dimly lit, making my situation much easier, seeing I had to stick to the darkness if I planned to make any sort of progress in this demented factory. I continued to hold the Pegasus tight in my grip as I navigated backwards into the compact elevator. "Take us to the bottom floor," I commanded, thrusting the factory worker against the keypad. She didn't fight me, and just did as I had commanded. After pressing a few buttons, the elevator doors closed, proceeding to the factory floor. Along the way down, the factory worker turned her head to me, freeing her muzzle from my grip.
Kill me.
She said to me. Her words surprised me. I had no idea how to even respond to something like that. What was I supposed to say? Yes? Was she trying to trick me? Or was she being serious? Judging from what she had said on the roof, I believe she was being serious. She had grown tired of this life of murder and wanted out of the Rainbow Factory forever. She was my only guidance, though, so I decided to make a proposition with her. "Okay, I'll free you from this place, but first you have to do something for me," I stated.
What's your proposition?
She asked me. "You know your way around the factory, so here's the deal. Get me a map and keep me out of Rainbow Dash's sight," I proposed. "If you can get me to Rainbow Dash, I'll free you from this hellbent factory."
Get your GPS system as well.
The worker raised an eyebrow at me, following an unsettling look on her face.
Best way to get to Dash is to gain her trust.
Stated the
That
Pegasus.
music, man.
It's not easy to gain her trust, though. You'll have to do some wicked shit to get on Dash's good side. Only few Pegasi have been able to do it, and what they've done to gain her trust is best left unsaid.
Without a doubt, I knew that the factory worker wasn't kidding the slightest. Rainbow Dash was ruthless, and I could only imagine the unspeakable things required to gain her trust. But I planned to gain Rainbow Dash's trust using stealth and manipulation. I had been closer to Rainbow Dash than any pony had ever been. I knew things about her that others didn't, things that could ruin her and scare her. "Trust me, I can gain her trust, but I need time to do it," I stated.
I don't know what you're planning, but I can buy you time. Can you loosen your grip, though? It kinda hurts.
Despite what she had stated, I wasn't going to loosen my grip so easily. I knew just how manipulative these workers were, and they would play that I'm just an innocent victim, so trust me game. "I'll release you, but first, dispose of any lethal weapon you have on you," I claimed. "I know you have a taser, gun, and pepper spray as defense against any victims who try to escape. Dispose of them, and I'll release you." She didn't rebel, and disposed of all the lethal weapons
You don't
she
have any
carried on her
motion
belt,
sensors
dropping them
in
to
the
floor of the
Rainbow
elevator.
Factory.
She had disposed of a taser, handgun, pepper spray, knife, and nightstick as the elevator came to a stop on the bottom floor.
Radio?
I carefully released her from my grip as the elevator doors opened. Just outside of the doors, I saw the base of the Pegasus device. It was supported by 4 steel bars, holding it in place. The sight of the machine caused
I'm
the memories of my
surprised
final
the
moments
steel
in
bars
factory
doesn't
to
stick
flash
through the
before my
clouds.
eyes as I stared at the steel wall next to the machine with rusty chains hanging from the rafters, chains that my hooves had been restrained in, as I was lifted and dropped into the grinding blades of the death
That can
machine.
change thing, actually.
Those memories caused my entire body to quiver as I saw the metal platform to the side of the death machine, the place where Rainbow Dash had stood, mocking me, Orion, and Aurora. The machine was quiet now, but it wouldn't be long before it would erupt back to life, hungry for more innocent Pegasi who had failed the flying exam. I did notice something different about the area, though. A giant projector screen was positioned just above the control room for the Pegasus device. Suddenly, Crystal's words echoed in my mind.
The one thing that makes me a Pegasus was taken from me and tossed aside like garbage and broadcasted for every pony to see.
I was humiliated! That must have been what she meant by that her forced wing removal was broadcasted. What a horrid thing for any Pegasus to see. The thought of being forced to witness a Pegasus being removed with their only identification of being a Pegasus made my stomach turn.
No,
Nearly
won't be
causing me
good
to vomit.
in this
I remained
situation.
strong as we continued to
The
navigate
picture's
along
good.
the
I do
vacuum
like the
floor
picture.
toward another room. What's in there?
Black
I
and white
asked.
is good, but
It's the
have the
locker room for the
writing
female factory workers.
in
I could get you a full
red
bodysuit from an old worker's
or
locker.
something.
Don't they still work
Because
here?
I can barely see the blue
She
in
turned
that
to me,
picture.
giving me a look that answered my question.
I can not blue.
Many factory workers
I
die
can
in
barely
factory
see
accidents,
the 42
especially the workers who
in
have to clean
Sparrow's
Pegasus device
username.
blades.
She confirmed.
I think the Reborn
Once you
written
get
by
stuck in that machine,
written and
it's
narrated
impossible
by
to
Sparrow
escape.
9642. That
Or
should be
Rainbow
very
Dash does it
red.
on purpose just for extra
Maybe that's me.
spectra, I claimed, knowing that I was correct.
Yeah.
But
that
overall,
too.
the art is
She
good.
agreed, placing her hoof on the hoof scanner. Once her access was granted, we entered a long, narrow room with rows of lockers on both sides of the room.
You don't have any
workers
cameras
switched on the
in the
lights,
lift
closing the
itself
door behind
or
them.
elevator. You
Rainbow
don't
Dash
no
held the
cameras in
security of
there.
the factory ever since an escape attempt by one of the orchestrators.
She stated.
That's why there's a scanner on every door, so no pony can just simply escape.
I immediately knew that the factory worker was talking about the Pegasus that I had met in the void. He was an orchestrator, but was outsmarted by Rainbow Dash. Did you know this orchestrator? I asked her.
Sorta. He was one of the more
Also, I
quiet
want to know if
orchestrators.
in
But we did work in the same
Rainbow
department.
Factory, does
She
Scootaloo
Such
know
a
how to
shame that
fly?
he had to die here.
Does
I
Scootaloo know
really
how to
wish the
fly
guy
in the
could
Rainbow
have
Factory
escaped.
before she went in? I
But
mean.
Dash knew about his plans before he even had a chance. I took his place as Dash's second in command, and ever since, it's been the same old story. Pegasus I come to the factory, we give him the same speech, kill the weakest one, and so on. I've wanted out of this place ever since my first kill, but I've been too scared to do anything. Dash watches all the workers like a hawk,
And
if
Luna
anything
and
seems out of place,
Celestia and all the other
she
princes
acts
don't know
me.
about this place?
I once thought about starting a rebellion with the other orchestrators, but I quickly figured out that's like asking for death on a silver platter. This place changes you, and not in a good way. Some workers have committed suicide to escape, before they were driven to madness. The eldest worker came here with a heart of gold, and at first refused to kill any pony. But after one kill, along with the effects of the factory, they became a ruthless killer, driven by madness.
And who was that? I asked.
Dash.
She confirmed. One kill is all it took to persuade Rainbow Dash to take her role here in the factory? My blood ran cold. How long had Rainbow Dash truly been here? How many other Overmares had there been in the factory? Was Rainbow Dash the only one? My thoughts were interrupted by the sound of a locker door opening, as the worker pulled out a full body suit. It was coated with dry blood, along with some splats of spectra from the tubes around the chest area.
Here, put this on.
She commanded, tossing the suit at me. I grabbed the suit, and quickly slipped on the suit. It was clear what this suit was used for. It was for handling any toxic chemicals and working around any toxic gases. My guess was this factory worker handled spectra and organized it.
Make sure to blend in with the rest of the
You got
workers.
chemical weapons
Pegasus.
in your
If you
story.
get caught, I can't help you. Another thing, if any workers ask for assistance, it's best that you do as they say, despite what you are forced to do.
Very well, but remember our agreement, I stated. Find a map and get it to me. I'll work on getting on Rainbow Dash's good side, but not the way other pigs I had to,
I'll get one.
she stated. I nodded my head as another thought came to me. By the way, what time is it? I asked.
2 a.m.
If you're wondering if the factory is shut down, fortunately for you, it is.
She confirmed.
The shift's just barely ended, but that doesn't mean we're safe. We need to get out of sight, so I guess I'll take you to my custom room that Dash gave me, once she gained my trust.
Hard to believe that she'd do something so kind, I stated.
By the way, I never caught your name.
She asked me. I panicked. I tried to think of a fake name, seeing if I gave her my real name, she'd recognize it immediately. Through my struggling, I remembered what Crystal had said about the unnamed Pegasus I had spoke to. He had forgotten his name. I forgot mine long ago. I stated, hoping the worker would buy my bluff. She raised an eyebrow, showing that she didn't believe me.
Don't give me that bullshit.
She claimed in an annoyed tone.
You assaulted me out of nowhere, so you somehow got into the factory. Tell the truth and don't lie.
I knew I couldn't lie again, so I came up with a fake name, close to my real one. Fine, it's Scoots, I replied. The Pegasus gave me a strange look, placing her hoof to her chin.
Strange. Dash used to mention some ponies used to call Scoots for short,
she claimed. I cussed in my mind, knowing that I wasn't getting anywhere with her. Here I was in the place I had died in originally, about to die again, unless I found some way to persuade this worker otherwise. Luckily, I had managed to do so.
That's better,
stated the worker.
I forgot my name long ago, so I just referred to myself as Absentia.
I recognized the word Absentia immediately. It matched any pony who had lost their identity perfectly. The word Absentia is a reference to being forgotten, left behind, absent from where some pony originated.
It
Every
sounds like
pony's name in this factory had gone absent long
alcohol
ago
drink
through
as
the
well.
culture of innocent
It does,
parasite.
Sweetie Belle. In
A sad
France,
thought that I couldn't
absence
fathom,
is illegal apparently.
Let's get out of here before we get caught by security.
stated Absentia. I agree. Let's go, I replied. As we turned to leave, I had no idea what to think. Had I just entered a trap with Absentia? Had I just made a mistake by making a deal with a factory worker? All I knew was that I wasn't safe in any way. If anything, I needed to watch my back. I was in the Rainbow Factory, where fears and horrors come true, and not a single soul gets through. I was in hell. Nowhere was safe.
Nowhere was safe. To be continued! Okay, that was Reborn, Chapter 2, My Little Pony, Dark Sad Fanfic reading by Sparrow. That was good, actually. Come on! I'm not sure about Sweetie Belle. Bits at the beginning, like the thunder and lightning, like I mentioned in the actual reaction, I would like to see some animation, like raindrops falling. Maybe it's just me. As you enter the Rainbow Factory as such, that music that kicked in, wow, it reminded me of the silent video, band video music you hear on YouTube. And it's like a sort of a tune that raises hairs back of your neck, or back of your mane. Then you got some piano music, which Sweet Belle just reminded me. It's like sad, but is it sad? Is it pity? Is it like? It's like the music's playing because you're gonna die, sort of thing. This like despair sort of music. It reminds me of like someone that. An old game called Defcon on PC it first came out, and the music of it's basically a nuclear war. And what happens? There's is it a nuclear chemical or something? What sort of chemicals are we talking about? Something because we mentioned wearing suits. Reminds me of chemicals now. Biological pony wear. Well, overall it was good. Oh, also I explained the writing. I barely just couldn't see the two properly. Maybe it's just me. I'll show you what I mean. I could barely see that. I could barely see the two where the rainbow dash is made. Oh, come on! I can't see it properly. I'm saying you can just vaguely recognise it's two. like I can see the other ones. Like I think it because the two's going over the. Maybe that's just me. I can't barely see it. Maybe that's me. But overall, to be continued. Thank you very much. Overall, it was a good video. Look, a good for chapter 2. Can't wait for chapter 3. Yeah, I can't say anything else on it. Actually, that was actually enjoyed doing that narration there, especially when if it's voice changer, Pony. That actually Mitty hasn't got a name. And is it absentina? It sounds like absinthe, the French drink. Yeah. Well, anyway, I will see you in my next reaction video. Oh, yes.